Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen and dear friends, it's really wonderful to be back here on campus. Several crises today are playing out on the world stage simultaneously. And which glass of water maybe. Democracy is threatened by autocratic governments which use fraudulent elections to wrap themselves in a veneer of democratic legitimacy. Climate change is already wreaking havoc as those experiencing droughts, wildfires, floods can tell you. Thank you very much. Hunger continues to hunt millions, particularly in Africa, which is the only continent on earth that depends on food imports, despite having 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. And some of the poorer parts of the world, these crises are compounded by rapid population growth, which is producing a youth boom. Africa alone is forecast to double in population to 2.4 billion by 2050. Two crucial ingredients can help solve these crises: technology and political will. The use of electronic systems for voter registration and identification and the tallying of votes can increase trust and reduce suspicions in countries with records of electoral fraud. Yet, the best technology is useless if the decision makers are not willing to accept the results or govern in a manner that serves the public rather than their own narrow self-interest. Technology for harvesting solar, wind, and geothermal can help green our economies and avert an impending climate catastrophe. Yet, without political will to invest, promote, and disseminate these technologies, we will not get very far. Advanced farming techniques, if made accessible to smallholder farmers, will enhance productivity and avert hunger. Drought and heat-tolerant crops and improved irrigation systems have the potential to make Africa a global food exporter and an agricultural powerhouse. Great promise also lies in the digital technology, allowing the many disparate African smallholder farmers to organize simply and efficiently to negotiate better seed prices and to tap into bigger markets. But yet again, without political will to put in place adequate incentives and remove unfair trade barriers and eliminate harmful export subsidies of the richer nations, none of these efforts will bear fruits. Let me conclude those remarks by pointing to two other areas that hold the promise to improve the lives of people everywhere: education and big data. The internet can bring learning to the most remote regions of the planet. The financial means to afford a cutting-edge education are no longer the prerequisite for access to cutting-edge knowledge. Technology can transport this knowledge in real time at low cost to places that do not even have schools, let alone universities. And big data can predict the spread of viruses based on a community's behavior on search engines and how often they type in words such as flu. It can make the management of disaster response work more efficient by predicting refugee movements and preparing first responders ahead of time. But again, without the right policy framework, ensuring that big data is not abused, our privacy, indeed our liberty, will be in bigger danger. In sum, let us invest and embrace technology. It makes possible progress. But technology does not free us from the need for leadership. It makes leadership all the more important. And the work you do here is helping change our world. It's disrupting some of the systems that we know. Do you talk to the politicians? What relationship do you have with the policymakers? How do you prepare them for the world that is to come? I would suggest you probably would need to talk more to the policymakers and get them thinking of the future and the world we are going to live in. So let us not forget that technology by itself cannot absolve us of our political responsibility to ensure that we use it wisely and efficiently for the good of society everywhere. Thank you very much. Thank you.